Have you ever wondered if there's more to life than what you're experiencing? If you've ever felt a deep yearning inside you, a whisper telling you there's something beyond the ordinary, beyond what the world has conditioned you to believe, then you've already begun the first step on a path that only a few will ever truly walk. But here's the catch. If you came here expecting something simple or just for entertainment, this might not be for you. This isn't just another feel-good video to pass the time. No, this is a journey into the deepest recesses of your own mind, soul, and spirit. A journey that will challenge your assumptions, expand your consciousness, and ultimately show you how to unlock the hidden door to spiritual enlightenment. You might be sitting there thinking, I'm not looking for anything complicated, I just want to understand myself better. And while that's a worthy goal, let me ask you this. Are you truly ready for what lies on the other side of that understanding? Spiritual awakening isn't something you can merely brush off after a few minutes of deep breathing or some light meditation. No, it's a radical shift in perception, a transformation that might be uncomfortable at first, but in time will free you in ways you never imagined. Most people live their entire lives never questioning what they believe, never challenging the reality they've been handed. They move through life on autopilot, doing the same things day in and day out, following the same old patterns. But what if that's not all there is? What if there's a path you can take that will awaken your true power, your divine connection to the universe itself? In this video, we're going to explore the secret path to spiritual enlightenment, a path that has been hidden from the masses, reserved for those who are courageous enough to ask the hard questions, face the uncomfortable truths, and embark on a journey of profound transformation. We'll dive deep into the principles of consciousness awakening, self-empowerment, and energy practices that have been passed down through ancient traditions. This isn't about learning a quick technique or following a simple guide. This is about creating a fundamental shift in your perception, about tuning into a frequency that connects you to the very essence of existence. As we unfold this journey, you'll encounter powerful insights, practical exercises, and mystical teachings that can help you break free from the limitations of the material world. You'll learn to transcend the mind's illusions and awaken to the truth of who you really are. But understand this isn't for the faint of heart. Spiritual enlightenment is not a quick fix. It's a journey of discovery, of shedding old layers, of facing fears and doubts you didn't even know you had. It's about shedding your old identity, your ego, and awakening to something far greater than anything you've been told. Are you ready for that? Are you truly prepared to open your mind to the possibility that everything you thought you knew might be a lie? If you're here, I believe you're ready, at least a part of you is. The only question is, will you walk the path to its end? This is where we begin. You've already taken the first step by asking questions, by seeking answers beyond the surface. Now, let's explore the mystery together, unraveling the ancient truths that have always been there, waiting for the right moment, the right mind to awaken. Welcome to the secret path to spiritual enlightenment. Your journey starts now. Spiritual enlightenment. What does it truly mean? To many, it sounds like an abstract concept, a distant idea reserved for mystics, saints, or perhaps the few lucky individuals who have the time and energy to devote themselves to spiritual practices. But here's the truth. Enlightenment is not a privilege. It is a birthright. It is your natural state, the essence of who you are before the layers of conditioning, fear, and doubt have obscured it. The real question is not whether you can become enlightened, but whether you are ready to awaken to the truth that has always been inside you. The idea that we are all capable of spiritual enlightenment is not new. In fact, many of the world's ancient spiritual traditions, from Hinduism to Buddhism, from Sufism to Kabbalah, have spoken of enlightenment for centuries. But over time, this sacred knowledge has been lost, distorted, or relegated to the realm of fantasy. Today, enlightenment has become a concept many people dismiss or misunderstand, but it remains one of the most powerful tools available for personal and collective transformation. In this section, we will peel back the layers of misunderstanding and introduce the concept of spiritual enlightenment in a way that makes it not only relatable but accessible. You'll see that enlightenment isn't some mystical, unreachable state. It's about aligning yourself with the universal truths that govern the fabric of existence. It's a journey of returning to your true self, shedding the false narratives you've been living under, and awakening to the profound connection you have with everything around you. Let's start by considering how we experience life on a daily basis. For most of us, life is a whirlwind of distractions: work, relationships, material pursuits. We're constantly bombarded by external forces that pull us away from the present moment. The constant barrage of news, social media, and advertisements tells us what to think, how to feel, and who we should be. All of this noise creates a fog, one that clouds our perception of reality. Yet, in the midst of all this, there are moments of clarity, moments where something inside us stirs. These are the glimpses of enlightenment. Perhaps it's when you're standing in nature, feeling the wind on your face, or when you witness an act of selfless kindness that resonates deeply within you. It's in these moments that you might feel, even if just for a second, that you are part of something far greater than the small, fragmented version of yourself you've been taught to identify with. These experiences of clarity are not random. They are clues, subtle reminders that there's more to life than what we see with our eyes. The challenge is that most people don't recognize them for what they truly are. They dismiss them, thinking that these fleeting moments are just coincidental or not significant. But the path to enlightenment starts by acknowledging those moments and diving deeper into the wisdom they offer. Consider the teachings of ancient philosophers like Socrates, who famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Socrates understood that true wisdom doesn't come from external achievement or material success. It comes from self-reflection, from questioning everything you believe to be true, and from seeking the answers that lie hidden beneath the surface of your everyday life. In this way, the journey to enlightenment begins with self-inquiry, with challenging the status quo of your own beliefs. Likewise, in Buddhism, the concept of nirvana, or enlightenment, is tied to the idea of freedom from suffering. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, from clinging to things that are impermanent, whether they be relationships, material possessions, or even our identities. Enlightenment, in this sense, is the liberation from these attachments and the realization that our true nature is pure, untarnished, and eternal. Even in Western philosophy, thinkers like Plato suggested that enlightenment is about moving beyond the shadows of the material world and seeking the higher truths that exist in the realm of the ideal. He used the allegory of the cave to illustrate how most people live in ignorance, trapped by the false images of reality that are projected onto them. But through self-awareness and critical thought, anyone can break free from this illusion and access the higher universal knowledge that leads to enlightenment. At its core, enlightenment is about awakening to the fact that you are not just a passive observer in your life, but an active participant in the creation of your reality. It is the recognition that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your body, but something much more expansive. A conscious being connected to the infinite flow of energy that runs through the universe. Let's look at it from a practical perspective. Every choice you make, every action you take, is influenced by the thoughts and beliefs that reside in your subconscious mind. If your mind is filled with limiting beliefs, doubts, and fears, then your actions will reflect that, and you'll continue to live in a cycle of repetitive patterns. But when you begin to break free from these limiting beliefs, when you awaken to the truth of your own divine nature, you will notice that your decisions become more aligned with your higher purpose. You'll stop living reactively and start living intentionally. This is the essence of spiritual enlightenment, becoming conscious of your true self and your connection to the universe, and living in alignment with that understanding. It is not about reaching some distant state of perfection. It's about a continual process of self-realization and growth, in which every moment presents an opportunity to deepen your awareness and embody your highest potential. Now that we have a foundational understanding of what spiritual enlightenment is and why it matters, let's delve deeper into the layers of this concept. Enlightenment is not a single moment of awakening. It is an ongoing process, a journey that reveals itself gradually as you align more deeply with your true nature. In this section, we're going to explore some of the core principles of enlightenment, why they're essential, and how you can begin to integrate them into your life. First, it's important to recognize that spiritual enlightenment requires a shift in perception. To put it simply, enlightenment isn't about learning more information or acquiring new knowledge. It's about remembering truths that are already within you. Most people are born with an innate sense of ownness with the world, a connection to the divine, but over time, societal conditioning, external influences, and personal traumas create a veil that hides this truth. Enlightenment is the process of removing that veil, peeling back the layers of conditioning, and coming into alignment with the truth of who you are. One of the biggest obstacles on the path to enlightenment is the illusion of separation. We've all been taught to see ourselves as separate from the world around us, separate from others, separate from nature, separate from the universe itself. But this illusion of separation is the very root of suffering. Think about it. Most of our fears, anxieties, and desires stem from this feeling of separation. We fear loss because we see ourselves as separate from others. We desire material things because we think they will make us whole. In reality, nothing in this universe is separate. Quantum physics has shown us that everything is interconnected, that we are all made of the same energy, vibrating at different frequencies. The same energy that runs through the stars, through the trees, through animals, is the same energy that flows through you. Once you begin to realize this truth, that you are not separate from the world, but an integral part of it, you begin to experience a shift. You'll start to feel more connected to everything around you, and that connection will bring with it peace, joy, and fulfillment. Consider the example of interdependence in nature. Take a forest, for example. Every tree, every plant, every animal, every insect has a role to play. The death of one species might create a shift in the ecosystem, but it's never truly a loss. Life continues, adapting, evolving, and flourishing. Just like the forest, you are not isolated in your own existence. You are part of an intricate, beautiful web of life, and when you recognize this, you begin to operate from a place of unity rather than separation. Another key aspect of the journey to enlightenment is understanding the role of the ego. The ego is the part of your psyche that forms your sense of individual identity. It creates the narrative of I am this or I am that, constantly seeking validation, control, and security. The ego is not inherently bad. It serves a purpose in helping us navigate the material world. However, the problem arises when we become overly identified with the ego, thinking that it is who we truly are. Ego attachment leads to suffering. When we cling to the ego, we separate ourselves from the deeper truth of our existence. We get caught up in the drama of life, our wants, our fears, our need for approval, and in doing so, we lose sight of our true nature. The more we identify with the ego, the more we distance ourselves from the deeper sense of peace and contentment that comes from spiritual awakening. The key to enlightenment, then, is not to destroy the ego but to transcend it, to recognize that the ego is merely a tool, not the essence of who you are. Once you step outside the grip of the ego, you begin to see life from a higher perspective. You stop seeing yourself as a small, isolated individual and begin to see yourself as part of the infinite flow of energy that connects all things. One of the most transformative practices on the path to spiritual enlightenment is cultivating presence and awareness. In our modern world, we are constantly rushing from one task to the next, rarely taking a moment to just be present in the moment. But true enlightenment cannot be achieved without being fully present. The present moment is where life happens. It is the only time that truly exists. Mindfulness, or the practice of being present, is one of the most effective tools for spiritual awakening. By learning to focus your attention on the here and now, you begin to quiet the constant chatter of the mind. This allows you to experience life more fully, with greater clarity and peace. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you will begin to feel connected to everything around you. You'll notice the subtle beauty of life, the way the sun feels on your skin, the sound of birds singing, the beauty in a passing smile. There's an old Buddhist saying, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." The idea is that enlightenment doesn't mean transcending the world or escaping into some mystical realm. It means seeing the world for what it truly is, seeing the divine in the ordinary. Once you can see the sacred in everything, even the mundane tasks of daily life become acts of reverence and connection. At the core of spiritual enlightenment is self-realization, the understanding that you are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your body. These are just temporary aspects of your experience. The true self is the observer, the witness to all that you experience. One way to begin the journey of self-realization is through meditation. Meditation allows you to observe your thoughts without getting attached to them, to witness your emotions without becoming consumed by them. As you meditate, you begin to realize that there is something deeper within you, something that transcends the fluctuations of the mind and emotions. This deeper essence, the true self, is already enlightened. It has always been. Enlightenment isn't something that needs to be attained. It's something that needs to be uncovered. It's a journey of peeling back the layers of the false self to reveal the eternal, unchanging truth beneath. The more you connect with this deeper part of yourself, the more you begin to experience the peace, love, and joy that come from spiritual awakening. Let me share a story with you that illustrates this process. A friend of mine, let's call him David, spent years searching for the truth. He tried countless spiritual practices, read dozens of books, and attended numerous retreats. But no matter what he did, he never seemed to find the answer. He was frustrated and confused, thinking there must be some grand revelation waiting for him. One day, after years of chasing the next big thing, he found himself sitting alone by a lake at sunset, simply watching the water ripple in the fading light. As he sat there in stillness, something unexpected happened. His thoughts slowed, and for the first time he felt truly present, not seeking, not yearning, but simply being. In that moment, David realized something profound. The truth he had been searching for was already inside him. There was nothing to find, nothing to achieve. It was all right here in the present moment. That moment marked the beginning of his true spiritual awakening. It wasn't some dramatic shift or a lightning bolt of insight. It was simply the realization that he had been looking outside of himself for something that was already within him. And that realization changed everything. Enlightenment is not a destination, it is a journey. And this journey begins by recognizing the illusion of separation, transcending the ego, becoming present, and uncovering the true self that resides within. The path to spiritual awakening is not about acquiring new knowledge or accumulating experiences. It's about removing the layers that hide the truth of who you are. When you embark on this journey, you will begin to see the world in a completely new light, one where everything is connected, everything is sacred, and you are never alone. The deeper you go into this process, the more you will experience the profound peace, love, and wisdom that come with true spiritual enlightenment. It's a life-changing experience, and it's available to anyone who is willing to take the first step. Up until now, we've talked about spiritual enlightenment as a gradual step-by-step process, removing the veil of illusion, transcending the ego, embracing the present moment, and uncovering the true self. But there comes a moment in every seeker's journey where everything changes. This moment is a revelation, an awakening to a truth so profound that it shifts the very way you experience the world. It's the kind of realization that, once seen, cannot be unseen. You can't go back to life the way it was before, and you don't want to. This is the turning point. It might not look like you expect. It's not necessarily dramatic or earth-shattering. It could be as simple as a shift in perception, a new way of looking at the very same things you've always seen. But when that shift happens, it's as if a light bulb goes off inside you, and everything becomes clear. For many, the turning point centers around the realization of just how much they've been trying to control their lives. We live in a world that prizes control of time, control of our emotions, control of our circumstances, and control of other people. This belief in control is at the heart of much of our suffering. Why? Because life is inherently uncontrollable. The illusion of control is exactly that, an illusion. The more you try to control everything, the more you become entangled in frustration, stress, and anxiety. Let me explain. For years, I struggled with the belief that I could control every aspect of my life. From career choices to relationships, I thought if I just worked hard enough or planned meticulously enough, I could steer the ship of my life exactly where I wanted it to go. But as time passed, I began to realize something unsettling. Life doesn't care about your plans. Despite my best efforts, things rarely went the way I expected. The more I pushed for control, the more out of sync I became with the flow of life. The turning point came when I finally let go. Instead of trying to control every outcome, I allowed myself to surrender to life as it was, without constantly trying to shape it to my will. I realized that control is not freedom, it's a form of bondage. True freedom lies in allowing life to unfold as it will, accepting the unknown, and trusting that, in the end, everything happens for a reason. This was the revelation, the moment I began to understand that the key to spiritual awakening isn't in grasping tightly to life, but in letting go and flowing with it. The more I surrendered, the more peace I experienced. Life no longer felt like a battle. It felt like a dance, an effortless, harmonious flow that I was part of, rather than the one trying to dictate the rhythm. Here's where the paradox lies. Surrendering does not mean inaction or passivity. It doesn't mean you stop making decisions or taking responsibility for your life. It means that you stop fighting against life, stop resisting what is, and stop needing everything to go according to your plans. You simply allow things to unfold in their own time and way, trusting that the universe, or whatever higher power you believe in, is guiding you toward exactly what you need. To truly surrender is to acknowledge that you don't have to control every outcome, every situation, every emotion, or every person you encounter. By releasing the need for control, you open yourself up to a deeper connection with your true self, the divine, and the flow of life. When you stop trying to force things into place, you make space for miracles to occur. Let's think about how this applies to your personal life. How many times have you experienced frustration, stress, or disappointment because things didn't go as planned? How often have you tried to manipulate situations, people, or circumstances to fit your idea of what should happen? What if, instead of tightening your grip, you loosened it? What if, instead of resisting, you opened yourself to the possibility that everything unfolding right now is exactly as it's meant to be? The turning point also leads us into a deep understanding of non-attachment. Many people associate attachment with love or passion, but attachment in the spiritual sense is quite different. Attachment is the emotional clinging to people, outcomes, ideas, or things. It's when you place your happiness or your sense of self-worth outside of yourself, dependent on something external. Here's the transformative idea. Non-attachment is not about detaching from people or experiences. It's about letting go of the need to control the outcome. It's about realizing that your happiness, peace, and fulfillment come from within, not from external circumstances. When you practice non-attachment, you free yourself from the roller coaster of emotions that come from attachment. You can still love deeply, engage with life fully, and pursue your goals, but you no longer need those things to define your sense of self or happiness. Think about a tree. A tree has roots that are deeply embedded in the earth, yet it lets go of its leaves every autumn. It doesn't cling to them. It knows that the natural cycle of life includes periods of growth and periods of release. Non-attachment is like the tree's way of releasing the leaves. It allows life to move through you without grasping onto any particular moment or outcome. It's about embracing impermanence and finding peace in the flow of life. There comes a moment, in the middle of this deep surrender and release, when grace enters the scene. Grace is that divine moment of clarity where everything you've been struggling with, all the tension you've been holding, simply dissolves. It's not something you force. It's something that happens naturally when you've done the work to let go and surrender to life's flow. Grace shows up in different ways. For some, it's a sudden insight or a profound shift in perspective. For others, it's a quiet, subtle feeling of peace and contentment that begins to fill the spaces where anxiety and stress once lived. But the key is that grace doesn't come through force, it comes through acceptance. The more you accept yourself, your life, and the present moment, the more grace you invite into your experience. One of the most beautiful parts of grace is that it doesn't need to make sense. It transcends logic. It's not something you can rationalize. It's the knowing that you're exactly where you need to be, and that you are supported by forces far greater than you. Grace is the divine gift that arrives when you least expect it, and it often shows up when you fully surrendered your need for control and allowed life to unfold as it will. And so, the turning point leaves you with a new perspective. You are not in control, but you are always supported. When you stop fighting, when you stop clinging to the need to control everything, you begin to experience life from a completely different vantage point. You see the interconnectedness of everything, the divine intelligence behind the chaos, and the grace that flows through all. This is a moment of profound transformation. It's a revelation that will change the way you see yourself, the world, and your place in it. It's the realization that you don't need to struggle for happiness. You only need to allow it to unfold naturally. And in that revelation, you'll find freedom, peace, and the deep fulfillment that comes with spiritual enlightenment. Now that we've uncovered the transformative revelation, the power of surrender, non-attachment, and grace, it's time to shift our focus to practical solutions. How can you take these profound ideas and apply them to your daily life? The journey towards spiritual enlightenment is not just about understanding. It's about living these truths in your everyday experiences. Here, we'll explore specific practices and approaches that empower you to embody these principles, helping you create a life of greater peace, joy, and connection. Remember, enlightenment is not a destination. It's a way of being. These tools are designed to help you integrate that way of being into the here and now. The first and perhaps most important solution is to cultivate mindfulness, the art of being fully present in the moment. Mindfulness helps you step out of the constant noise of the mind and into the clarity of the present. It's about observing your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment or attachment. Practical steps to practice mindfulness. 1. Start small. Dedicate just 5 to 10 minutes a day to sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. Notice the sensations of each inhale and exhale, and gently bring your mind back to your breath whenever it wanders. 2. Anchor yourself in the present. Throughout the day, use simple cues to bring yourself back to the moment. For example, every time you hear a notification sound, take a deep breath and center yourself. 3. Engage fully in routine tasks. Turn everyday activities into mindfulness practices. Whether you're washing dishes, walking, or eating, give your full attention to the task at hand. Notice the textures, smells, and sensations. Mindfulness is the foundation of spiritual awakening because it helps you move beyond the chatter of the ego and into the stillness where your true self resides. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you'll notice a sense of calm, clarity, and connection. Surrender is one of the most challenging yet liberating practices on the spiritual path. To surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the need to control and trusting in the unfolding of life. A powerful way to cultivate surrender is through daily reflection. How to practice daily reflection. 1. Set aside quiet time. At the end of each day, spend 10 to 15 minutes reflecting on your experiences. Ask yourself, where did I try to force control today? What could I have let go of more easily? How can I approach tomorrow with a mindset of trust and openness? 2. Use affirmations. Incorporate affirmations into your reflection. For example, I trust that life is unfolding perfectly for me. I release the need to control and embrace the flow of life. 3. Journal your thoughts. Write about moments where surrender felt difficult and how you might approach those moments differently in the future. Daily reflection allows you to notice patterns, gently shift your mindset, and build the habit of surrender over time. Non-attachment doesn't mean detaching from life. It means engaging with it fully while letting go of the need to cling to outcomes. One of the most effective ways to cultivate non-attachment is through gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus away from what you lack and toward an appreciation of the present moment, exactly as it is. Gratitude practices for non-attachment. 1. Daily gratitude journaling. Every evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Focus on simple, everyday moments, like the warmth of the sun, a kind word from a stranger, or a meal you enjoyed. 2. Express gratitude in the moment. When something doesn't go as planned, pause and find something to be thankful for in that experience. For example, if you face a delay, appreciate the extra time to breathe and reflect. 3. Shift your perspective. Gratitude helps you see that everything in life is impermanent, and that's what makes it beautiful. Practice appreciating moments without needing them to last forever. Gratitude fosters non-attachment by reminding you that fulfillment comes not from clinging, but from appreciating. Meditation is a gateway to self-realization, the understanding that you are not your thoughts, emotions, or even your body. By meditating regularly, you cultivate the ability to observe yourself from a higher perspective, breaking free from the false narratives of the ego. A simple meditation practice. 1. Find a quiet space. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. 2. Focus on the breath. Let your breath guide you into stillness. Notice each inhale and exhale, letting thoughts come and go without attachment. 3. Observe the observer. As you meditate, bring your awareness to the part of you that is watching your thoughts. Ask yourself, who is observing these thoughts? What is the nature of the observer? 4. Practice regularly. Even 10 minutes a day can create profound shifts over time. Meditation helps you connect with the deeper essence of who you are, revealing the eternal, unchanging truth of your being. Finally, one of the most empowering solutions is to embrace the unknown with faith and trust. Life is unpredictable, and uncertainty is an inevitable part of the human experience. The key is to stop resisting uncertainty and to see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. How to embrace the unknown. 1. Shift your mindset. Instead of fearing the unknown, view it as an adventure. Remind yourself that every challenge carries the seed of a lesson or blessing. 2. Anchor yourself in trust. Develop trust in the universe or in whatever higher power you believe in. Reflect on past experiences where things didn't go as planned but eventually worked out for the best. 3. Use visualization. When facing uncertainty, visualize yourself stepping into the unknown with courage and grace. Imagine yourself walking a path illuminated by trust, even if you can't see the final destination. Faith and trust transform the unknown from something to fear into something to embrace. It's important to remember that these solutions are not about perfection. They're about progress. Start small. Incorporate 1 or 2 practices into your daily routine and build from there. The path to enlightenment isn't a race, it's a journey. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to a life of greater awareness, peace, and fulfillment. As you cultivate mindfulness, practice surrender, embrace non-attachment, meditate, and trust the unknown, you'll begin to notice subtle but profound changes in your life. You'll feel lighter, more connected, and more aligned with the flow of existence. And most importantly, you'll start to experience the freedom and joy that come from living in harmony with your true self. As we near the end of this journey, it's important to reflect on the core message we've explored together. From the moment we began, I challenged you to go beyond entertainment and to engage with something deeper, something that requires both reflection and action. We've talked about how to achieve spiritual awakening through mindfulness, surrender, non-attachment, and trust. And we've examined the transformative power of these principles in practical terms. But now, let's take a moment to reflect on the true essence of what we've uncovered. Spiritual enlightenment is not a far-off destination. It's a living reality, one that you have the power to access right now, in this very moment. The practices, tools, and insights we've discussed are all pathways that lead to the same truth. You are whole, you are enough, and you have the ability to create a life full of meaning, peace, and fulfillment. But it's not just about understanding this intellectually. It's about embodying it in your life. The real power of these teachings comes not from knowing them, but from living them. It's through integrating mindfulness, surrender, non-attachment, meditation, and trust into your daily life that you can experience the profound shift from striving to being. You're standing at a crossroads, one where you can choose to continue living life as usual, or you can take the path of deep personal transformation. The choice is yours. If I can leave you with one key takeaway, it's this. The journey towards spiritual enlightenment is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about meeting yourself where you are and understanding that every step, no matter how small, matters. It's about allowing yourself to be a work in progress while embracing the divine perfection that already exists within you. Throughout our exploration, we've discussed powerful concepts like non-attachment, surrender, and mindfulness. But in the end, what truly matters is how you apply these principles. Do you really allow yourself to let go of the need to control? Can you remain present and grounded in the chaos of everyday life? Are you willing to trust that everything in your life is happening for your highest good, even if it doesn't always look the way you expect? Take a moment now to reflect. Where do you find resistance in your life? What are the areas where you struggle with control or attachment? Are there moments where you felt disconnected from your true self or from others? These moments of awareness are where transformation begins. Spiritual awakening isn't an event that happens once. It's a continual unfolding. The tools I've shared with you today are meant to serve as anchors that keep you grounded as you move through life's ups and downs. Mindfulness helps you stay aware. Surrender teaches you the power of letting go. Non-attachment helps you appreciate life for what it is, without clinging to it. And meditation reveals your true essence. But what matters most is how you apply these tools when life gets difficult. When things don't go as planned, when uncertainty creeps in, or when life challenges you in unexpected ways, this is when your practices will be tested. This is where true growth happens, not when everything is easy, but when it's hard, and you choose to meet the moment with peace, trust, and resilience. Each challenge is an opportunity to put what we've discussed into practice. It's in the moments of discomfort that we can truly embody the principles of mindfulness, surrender, and trust. And as you do, you'll begin to notice subtle shifts in your life, a sense of inner peace that wasn't there before, a deeper connection with your true self, and a widening of your perspective that allows you to embrace the unknown with confidence. It's important to remember that spiritual enlightenment is not an endpoint, but a continuous journey. Enlightenment doesn't happen in one grand moment. It unfolds gradually as you begin to see the truth of who you are, beyond the ego, beyond the noise of the world, and beyond the limitations you've placed on yourself. Enlightenment is realizing that the answers you seek are not external, they are already inside you. It's the moment when you let go of the idea that there is something to attain, and instead recognize that everything you need is already within you. It's about waking up to the divinity that resides in the core of your being and understanding that you are part of something much larger than yourself. As we close this chapter of our journey, I want to remind you of something. You are enough. You don't need to become anyone else or reach some distant state of perfection. You are already worthy of love, peace, and all the abundance the universe has to offer. The path to enlightenment is simply about remembering that truth and living from it. There will be days when you feel lost, when the journey seems too difficult, and when you question whether you're on the right path. And that's okay. These are just moments. They don't define your entire journey. What defines you is the commitment to keep moving forward, even when things feel uncertain. Every step is part of the process, and every moment of struggle is an opportunity to return to your truth. So, as you go forward, remember that the path to spiritual enlightenment is your path, and it's one that only you can walk. But as you walk it, know that you are supported, guided, and never alone. If you've resonated with what we've discussed today, I invite you to reflect further on these practices. Take the time to implement them in your own life, and don't rush the process. Spiritual awakening is not a race, it's a deeply personal and ongoing unfolding. Trust that the universe has a way of guiding you exactly where you need to go. All you need to do is stay present, stay open, and keep walking the path of your own divine truth. And as you move forward on your journey, remember this: you are the creator of your reality. What you focus on, you become. The choices you make today ripple out into your future, shaping the life you will live tomorrow. Choose wisely. Choose with love, with mindfulness, and with the deep knowing that you are capable of creating a life of infinite possibilities. Thank you for being part of this journey. Now, it's time for you to step into your own truth. The path to enlightenment begins now.